Well, let's go ahead and call our August 30th, 2022 regular meeting to order. I'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Dave, if you wouldn't mind leading us.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thanks, Dave. Next up is our roll call. Clerk, will please take roll.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Okay, very good. Item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Item 4.1, if the clerk would please report correspondence.
Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in the following: a special occasion liquor license application for Shelton Skookum Rotary Foundation, liquor license renewal information, marijuana license renewal information, notice of cannabis license relocation application for Black Sushi Cannabis, notice of cannabis license discontinuation for Cooperative 52.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next item 4.2, a news release.
Good morning. This is a news release regarding a temporary road closure on Brockdale Road, Brockdale Cutoff. Mason County Public Works is advising motorists of a scheduled daily road closure on a portion of Brockdale Road, weather permitting. The closure is scheduled for Wednesday, September 7th and Thursday, September 8th, 2022 from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. from milepost 4.8, known as Brockdale Cutoff, to milepost 6.27, intersection with Highway 101. The closure will allow county crews to safely perform chip seal maintenance activities. Reader boards will be stationed approximately a week before maintenance activities begin. Local access, school buses, and emergency vehicles will be permitted. Patience and understanding during this temporary road closure is appreciated. If you have any questions, please contact Public Works at 360-427-9670, extension 450. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Loretta. Appreciate that. Next item 5, this is our open forum for citizen input. Are there any members of the public in the chamber that have public comment? Can my commissioners help me out? Anybody in there?
Nope.
Nope.
Great. Okay. Anybody on Zoom have public comment? Okay. Not seeing any public comments. We'll move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as written.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt today's agenda as written. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the July 19th, 2022 Commission Retreat Minutes, July 25th, 2022, and August 1st, 2022 Briefing Minutes, July 25th, 2022 Finance Committee Minutes, and August 2nd, 2022 Regular Meeting Minutes, as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the July 19th, 2022 Commission Retreat Minutes, July 25th and August 1st, 2022 Briefing Minutes, July 25th, 2022 Finance Committee Minutes, and August 2nd, 2022 Regular Meeting Minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, our action agenda. Commissioners will read through the items on today's action agenda, at which time a member of the public or commissioner may ask to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. We'll go through the items as follows. Commissioner Netherland, would you please take items 8.1 through 8.8? And Commissioner Trask, would you please take items 8.9 through 8.17?
Sure, Mr. Chair. Item number 8.1, approval of the warrants and treasurer's electronic remittance. Claims, clearing fund, warrants number 8089912 through 8090198. The amount, $2,005,398.20. Direct deposit fund, warrants number 89644 through 80042. The amount, $789,471.59. Salary Clearing Fund, warrants number 7006852 through 7006876. The amount, $523, $523,470.47. Item number 8.2, approval of the resolution to increase the District Court Judge Pro Tempore and District Court Commissioner hourly rate to $90 an hour effective January 1st, 2023. Item number 8.3, approval to participate in the Washington County's Risk Pool, WCRP, optional $5 million excess of $20 million policy. Item number 8.4, approval of the sole source resolution authorizing Public Works to execute a 3-year service contract with Huber Technologies Incorporated for the annual maintenance of the Huber Fine Rotomat screens used at the Belfair Water Reclamation Facility. Item number 8.5, approval of the sole source resolution authorizing Public Works to purchase parts and repair services from K-Turbo for blowers at the Belfair Water Reclamation Facility. Item number 8.6, approval to set a public hearing for Tuesday, September 27th, 2022 at 9:15 a.m. to consider the 2023 annual construction program and the 2023 through 2028 6-year transportation improvement program, TIP. Item number 8.7, approval of the Consolidated Homeless Grant, CHG number 22-46108-20, Amendment C, and the Professional Services Contract with Crossroads Housing Amendment 3 for the additional funds in the amount of $98,098 for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023 to support the centralized rapid rehousing program and supportive services to reduce and prevent homelessness. Item number 8.8, approval of the county administrator to negotiate with the lessor of the Belfair Landing Commercial Complex and Mason County Attorney to implement a 16th-month extension contract.
Item 8.9, approval of the resolution amending resolution number 49-13 for the election to receive secure rural schools and community self-determination funding and allocation of Title I, Title II, and Title III funds. Item 8.10, approval of the resolution amending resolution number 32-18 to increase the Mason County Utilities and Waste Management cash drawers from 6 to 8 and increase the cash drawer amount to $400 and increase the manager's change bag to $500. Item 8.11, approval to implement the Mason County Fire Marshal's Office Burn Restrictions Policy. Item 8.12, approval to appoint William Jensen, Steve Bass, and Caleb Cowles to the Historic Preservation Commission to fill 3 vacant seats. Item 8.13, approval to authorize Public Works to advertise, set bid opening dates and times, award contracts, and allow the chair to sign all pertinent documents for the call for bids for routine paint line, asphalt emulsion, culvert pipe and lining, manufacturing and stockpile of chip seal aggregate, and asphaltic materials for 2023. Item 8.14, approval to authorize Public Works Deputy Director, County Engineer to extend the agreements for engineer and design services for the Fish Barrier Correct Culvert projects and Excel Tech Consulting Inc. and extend and add an additional $15,000 to the Public Works Facility Wastewater System Design with Gibbs and Olson, and extend and add an additional $25,000 for the hydrological analysis for Lower Uncle John Creek project with Parametrics Inc. And approval to authorize the Public Works Deputy Director, UNW Management, to extend the on-call post-closure for Mason County landfill agreement with Parametrics and the grinder pump service maintenance agreement with Correct Equipment. Item 8.15, approval for the county engineer to procure and execute agreements for materials testing and engineering and construction services from the county MRSC consultant roster. Each agreement will be for 2 years with one automatic 1-year renewal and a maximum payment or payout for each service agreement not to exceed $200,000. Item 8.16, approval to reappoint Don Progeda and Tim Lincoln for a 3-year term and Philip Wolf for a 2-year term on the Transportation Improvement Program Citizen Advisory Panel, TIPCAP. 8.17, Approval for the chair to sign the allocation agreement covering the allocation of funds paid by the settling opioid distributors in Washington State, subdivision settlement participation form, and the One Washington Memorandum of Understanding between Washington municipalities. And the last item, 8.18, approval to post and fill a lead planner position through December 2022.
Great, thanks, Commissioners. Are there any items that either of you would like to have removed from the action agenda for separate discussion and vote?
Yes, Mr. Chair, item number 8.16.
Okay, we'll remove 8.16. Commissioner Trask?
Nope.
Okay. Are there any members of the public in the room that would like to have an item removed for separate discussion and vote? Okay, any members of the public on Zoom that would like to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote? Okay, seeing none, would entertain a motion on the remaining items.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve items 8.1 through 8.18 with the exception of item 8.16 for approval.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve items 8.1 through 8.18 with the exception of 8.16. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Okay, moving on to item 8.16. Is there staff that would like to brief item 8.16?
Very, very briefly, Commissioners. Before you is a request to reappoint members for our TIPCAP Advisory Committee. And as you may recall, TIPCAP is a committee that was established by the Commissioners to provide citizen input to our transportation improvement program. So basically making recommendations on what are our capital investments in our road infrastructure. And when I say roads, I'm talking bridges, culverts, any aspect to do with our road program. And TIPCAP has been meeting regularly. They typically meet about once per month, not necessarily always throughout the year. And they also attend outside community events and provide outreach to the community. Part of their job is to find out from their fellow citizens what are improvements that are important to the community as well. And they bring those recommendations back to staff and also provide those recommendations directly to commissioners. And we recently drafted some changes to the resolution for membership of TIPCAP. We have 9 members as part of the committee. We have had, probably anywhere between 6 and 7 members historically, and have had trouble filling the 2 other positions throughout the years. And part of that had to do, I believe, with the narrowness of how we defined it. And commissioners were clear about, we want to broaden this and make sure that we're getting good representation. So the representation that we were looking for, or are looking for, is citizens from each commissioner district, basically about three members per district, and ideally representing different interests throughout the county. So that we've got a good cross-section of representation. And that is about it.
Great.
Happy to entertain any questions.
Great, thanks, Loretta. Commissioners, any questions for staff? Okay.
Nope.
Are there any members of the public in the room that have questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, any members of the public on Zoom have questions for staff? Okay, with that, we'll close questions and move on to public comment. Are there any members of the public in the room that have comment on item 8.16? Okay, not seeing any in the room. Any members of the public on Zoom have comment on item 8.16? Okay, not seeing any comments on Zoom. Go ahead and close public comment on item 8.16 and move to commissioner deliberation or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for the approval to reappoint Don Progretta and Tim Lincoln for a 3-year term and Philip Wolf for a 2-year term on the Transportation Improvement Program Citizen Advisory Panel, TIPCAP.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, I will second the motion to approve item 8.16. Is there any commissioner discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to speak, if I may.
Absolutely.
So, it's funny, this particular group existed for many years, and it turned into the wrong kind of group, and it was killed off. I know because I was the one that did it. And we reconstructed it for the purpose of taking the politics out of our decisions for roads and infrastructure and stuff like that. It was put in place to have the citizens be a direct line with the community and to go over each of these items to make sure that the commission didn't just do it without, because of their own political whims and the like. Back in 2016, or the year before that, when I ran for re-election, there was a young lady who was running against me. She filed a year early because she had made a mistake. So I knew she was running against me, and she wanted to be appointed to the Criminal Justice Committee, which I knew she would use it as a weapon against me. But I still appointed her to that committee because it was the right thing to do, to make sure, because she did have knowledge in that area. And to not appoint her to it would have been a political choice on my part, and I decided not to do that. I feel that we're in a situation right now where we have 2 people who have served this community exceptionally well for 7 years and have even the chair of it, and we're not appointing them. Not only are we not appointing them, the way this thing was brought forward, we did not even have a discussion of what you want for your committee, because we've changed the structure, what you wanted for representing your seat or mine. And I think, as I said during our briefing, it should have been handled that way, to where we had the ability to bring forward who we thought should best represent our communities, because that's why this is in existence. And it's just sad to me that we are going to appoint people who are good people. I have no issue with that. But we're going to leave out people that have done the work for all these years. And I'm afraid it's for political purposes, or personal, if not political, personal animosities, when they've done a great job for 7 years. So with that being said, I am not going to vote against this motion, because these people that are on here are phenomenal. I have no issue with them. I just needed to be able to say this and tell you commissioners that, again, when we do these things and we represent our own communities, I don't know why we've changed in the last several years to where we're not having the commissioner that represents that community, best knows their people, works with their people every day, as being the lead on who represents their area. I'm sad that we've changed from that, but with that, I will still be voting in favor of this motion.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Trask, any comments?
Yeah. I hope you're not saying that this was a political move. I know it's a campaign year, and believe me, nothing I do for this county is for political gain or for any political reasons. So I hope that's not what you're saying. The reason that I'm moving forward and I support this is it was very, there were 4 people from your district, 2 from mine, and none from District 2. So that bothered me a bit. I do think that it's important that we keep all of our districts well represented and well balanced. So, gosh, I really hope you're not saying that I'm doing this for political reasons, because that is not where I am, and I was hoping that, well, most people understand that it's not political for me, that it's for Mason County. So I will be I will be voting in favor of this.
Great, thanks, Commissioner Trask. Yeah, I'll just say, I think it's really bizarre to try and make this a political or a personal vote. I think, as you mentioned, Commissioner Devlin, the people that we're appointing here today are qualified, they're experienced, and honestly, what they have in common is they've been critical of me and some of my decisions. And so I think by reappointing people who are critical of the electeds that represent them. I think that's healthy in a democracy like ours, in a representative democracy like ours. And that's why I have no problem reappointing these three individuals. I think the argument could also be made that it was potentially highly politicized and personal when you look at the makeup of the previous TIPCAP board, given how heavily weighted it was to your district. But none of us seem to be able to make that argument because we didn't think that's why you had those folks appointed. We thought you made a decision based on what you thought was in the best interest of the county at the time in order to revamp TIPCAP. And, at some point here, Commissioner Netherland, it would be great to get that same courtesy in return for how and why I make decisions. And so, your points are your points. You've had an opportunity to weigh in on these and other appointments. And I think it's time that we rebalance TIPCAP so that we have a little bit more, a little bit more wide representation for all of the districts. As you've always said, we've struggled to get representation from my district. We're working on that. This is part of that. And so I wouldn't have been critical of you for saying that folks that you were highly supportive of politically and that were supportive of you politically got appointed to that council. For those reasons, I think you operated under what you thought was the best interest of the community. And frankly, that's why I'm voting for these three individuals, so that we can have a quorum, so that they can do that work, so that they can advance a 6-year and annual TIP for our consideration.
Mr. Chair, as for the representation of your district, first of all, the representation of who was on there, I want to point out that you also reappointed some of these people yourself. It was also the idea that we always went out and tried to get somebody from your district, and we're not able to get somebody from your district, and it was not from lack of trying. And I know that the committee itself actually went out there and tried to get people from your district to come forward. So that imbalance had nothing to do with me or anybody else. It was the fact that they didn't come forward from your district. As for representing the district, again, it would have been really appropriate to have the input on who we think should represent our district from our district, instead of having that decided without even having that discussion. I don't think that it was appropriate, and yes, what I am saying is because these are the two that have been held off, I do think there's a personal reason in this. It may be because that your guys are angry or whatever, but there's no reason to have taken Jack Johnson off. For sure. He's been the chair, he's been exceptional for all these years, and he is the most knowledgeable when you go to those meetings. So to remove him for no reason, there must be something more to that, because he wasn't even given an opportunity, and you did not ask the person representing that district what he thought. And I believe you should have. So again, I don't think it's as much just a simple mistake. We should have asked that. We should have had that discussion. And if it is a mistake, then it's a bummer, because we should rectify that the next time we do any of these committees, because each person that represents a district and that is asking for people to be appointed from their district should have some type of conversation or say on who they select from their district. This is how we keep everything personal and the like out of it. We didn't have any of those conversations. These two people were just removed. It was just that simple.
So I'll also just say this, Commissioner. You've been on the commission for 10 years. If you had the opportunity when I mentioned the folks that I would support from that list, when I mentioned who I would vote for, you had an opportunity to say who you would have rather seen on there. And being on this commissioner longer than either Commissioner Trask or I, in fact, as long as both of us have been on here combined, I feel like you would know how to do that by now, if that was what you wanted to do. And so these are the folks that I would have supported, that I am going to support. They've been critical of me. I respect them. I respect the work that they've done. And I think this gets us closer to having equal representation, or at least giving us an opportunity to try for more equitable representation countywide. As to why I voted to reappoint the entire slate back in February, it was because we were reworking the bylaws and the resolution that governed how these positions are determined. And so I did that out of a courtesy to staff, as well as to the TIPCAP as we were evaluating the options. And then when we made a different, we went in a different direction for how the board was to be organized, I acted accordingly. And so I stand by my decision to reappoint the 3 individuals that are before us today. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, just real quick, I know we did have a briefing on this, and so we were given the opportunity to discuss this. All 3 of us were at the briefing, so, and this was an opportunity for us to move forward and to get equal representation. And so I thank staff for stepping up and looking at the bylaws and making sure that we are able to get people to represent us on TIPCAP. Every one of the people, or all of them on TIPCAP, are great people. I couldn't say that they weren't. They're all fantastic, and they've served well on TIPCAP, and I appreciate them so much. But this is an opportunity that we should take right now to make it equal.
Mr. Chair, let's not pretend that the meeting doesn't go a certain way. When the chair speaks up first and says, these are the 3 I will go with, and the second commissioner says that she will go with you, it's done. Let's not pretend it's not. That's the way it works. Watch the meeting again yourself. So, yes, I have been around for 10 years. I'm smart enough to know that when 2 commissioners have already made up their mind it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And so the only option I have is to make my point here and to say that I would appreciate the next time if we make sure that when we're talking about districts and things are separated by districts, that we at least give the opportunity, because I didn't know you were going to go forward the way you guys both did with deciding these people were in, these people were out without asking. And I did ask to have that conversation of who would be representing what district and stuff. I asked to go back and have those districts even brought to us. But instead, it's still here, right here in front of us, and the decision is being made as it was already made in that briefing, in my opinion. So with that being said, again, let's not pretend that there isn't more to this than me just not speaking up.
I hope you're not saying that we discussed it before, because we did not.
No, I'm saying you discussed it there, and it was already decided before it ever got to me. And I did try to have the conversation of having the discussion who would represent my district and stuff. Your comment was that you agree with Commissioner Schutte, you're going to go with Commissioner Schutte. It was done. So let's not pretend like I just didn't know how to do it after 10 years of doing it. After 10 years of doing this, I know when it's done. And it was done. If you watch the video, you'll see the same thing. But again, I will be voting in favor of it, Commissioner.
Yeah, and I want Phil, Tim, and Don to know that this discussion in no way diminishes any of the service that they have provided or will continue to provide to Mason County. It's unfortunate that their appointment the vote for their appointment has taken this turn, given the discussions that we have had in briefing. But I think what ought to carry the day is that we have 3 qualified members of the public stepping forward to serve on TIPCAP, and hopefully we find a couple of other folks from the county to join them from the appropriate areas of the county. So just a word of thanks to them, I think, is appropriate.
Agreed.
If there's no other discussion, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, other business. Any department heads or elected officials in the room that would like to address the commission? Okay, Mark, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just think that, I think we can make some improvements on the website regarding TIPCAP and kind of how it's organized and the current structure of per resolution of how we want to make it. So making sure that we define where those individuals live, what they represent in terms of district, and are they representing the urban area or the rural areas, just so that it's clear to everyone that what is the balance of individuals. And if we need to find some more individuals, I'm very supportive, and I think that all 3 commissioners have relationships with individuals that are within their districts that they can reach out to say, hey, really would love to see you guys participate on this board, and if we can recruit them and they can actually come on, then that's great. And I believe all three commissioners respect each other enough to know that if you bring an individual forward saying, hey, this individual's from my district and can actually help provide the perspective from our district on TIPCAP, that carries weight, right? So I think we can improve that on the website. I'll commit to doing that and making sure that it's clear, because the way it used to be structured was very different than the way it is structured now.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for that, Mark. Any directors or electeds on Zoom that would like to make comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 10. There are no public hearings, so we'll move on to our board calendar and reports. Commissioner Nolan, if you go first, Commissioner Trask, and then I'll finish up.
Yes, I attended a Mason Transit Authority meeting, North Mason School District Zoom meeting. I also went to the North Mason School District and brought food and gave out food for free to people during a picnic there for the North Mason School District to get to know their people again. Mason County Housing Authority met with some representatives of developers looking at our area for development. Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization meeting, Union City, they had a big event up there. Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization Executive Board, a Zoom meeting with Congressman Kilmer, and then again I was away for a funeral. Opioid awareness is this coming, what is it, this week or the week after, I think it is. And they're going to have an event in Shelton and an event in Belfair. I will be at both events, so I'm noticing them now. And I'll be speaking at the one in Belfair. Left Board meeting, Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority meeting, and a Finance Committee meeting of the Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority. And again, I have a second funeral. I have to go out of state again for that. And then we also have a holiday in between there.
All right. After this meeting, I will be going to the Homelessness Task Force meeting, and then traveling to Spokane for a Board of Health training on Wednesday and Thursday, both very full days. Friday, I'm meeting with our attorneys. I'm having a wonderful dinner with the Chief of Police here and her husband. Saturday is an Mason County Republican fundraiser. And let's see, our church is having a picnic on Sunday, so that's pretty cool. Labor Day is Monday, no meetings. Tuesday, I will be having a Pack Mountain meeting, a DNR meeting, lunch with a very sweet lady. Wednesday is business after hours at the Peninsula Credit Union. Courthouse meeting, Pack Mountain Executive Finance Committee meeting. My granddaughter's birthday is next Friday. Happy birthday, Steffi. Public Works Board meeting. A Wasack Fiscal Governance Work Group meeting. Going to the Mariners game on Saturday for my granddaughter's birthday. It's also my son-in-law's birthday and my other daughter and her husband's anniversary. Very busy. And then my brother's birthday is also on the 11th. And then we're back for our county briefing and Wasack virtual assembly. Oh, also, the last virtual assembly was the revenue forecast for the next few years. We should be looking at that and making sure that we are ready for it and make sure that our budget's solid.
I did not go to that. What did it show?
It's going to be tough for the next 3 years, 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Those are recorded, right? So we can.
Yes. Yeah. Recommend everyone to go to the Wasack site and take a look at it. Because great information.
Between them and the risk pool, we usually get a pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're telling us to get worried.
Yeah. It's not just for the U.S. but for the entire world. So we need to be ready for it.
Great, thank you. So earlier today, I tested positive for COVID, and so I'm going to be working from home for the remainder of this week and catching some of my meetings on Zoom. I'm going to notice the overdose awareness walk as well as the Mason County Republican fundraiser that Commissioner Trask mentioned. Not optimistic that I'll be able to make either, depending on my testing protocol and isolation, but I'm going to notice those just in case. Also have the crisis stabilization discussion with the Thurston Mason BHASO and Cascade this week, heading into the holiday, and then next week, EDC Legislative Committee, EDC Board meeting, a NACO County Leaders Institute conference webinar, and the Mason County Clean Water District quarterly meeting, Mason County Crisis Services System of Care Work Group, and then my bi-weekly check-in with BHASO staff ahead of our next commission meeting on the 13th, and just like I said, a variety of Zoom meetings now over the next week that will not have a quorum of commissioners present. Commissioners, anything else to add before we move on to our adjournment?
Yes, thank you for taking the test before sitting between the two of us.
Don't say I don't care.
That's right.
Yeah, and you do sound a little snotty, so I'm glad you're away.
People usually say that regardless of COVID, so that's appreciate that, Commissioner. Thank you.
Hope you feel better.
It has not affected my sense of humor. It's still dry. Okay.
Oh, that was a bad one.
If there's,
It took me a half a second, but I.
if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And the motion carries. We're adjourned. Have a good day, everybody.
Feel better.
Thanks.